It's always so nice to want to do amazing things with other people's capital, is it not?
Well, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, Sanders has in mind to do a lot with other people's capital, specifically his plan, the College for All Act, which he says he wants to get done as president, would have the federal government pay for 67% of tuition at public four-year institutions, with states covering the other 33%. And that's supposed to cost, according to Sanders, about $70 billion per year. That's a lot of sleeping ceramic pigs.
Yeah, it is. That is quite a lot of them. $70 billion per year. And where, this money is all going to come from where? The middle class, I would imagine.
Well, he says it's going to be paid for by a Robin Hood tax on Wall Street. But the problem, of course, is where does the 33% for the states come from? There's no such thing as a free lunch. And there's no way that the states are not going to try to compensate by covering all the tuition at their public four-year institutions by not raising taxes on people living in the state. This sort of thing, the idea is to just take money from those who have a lot of it. But it's also going to hurt a lot of people in the states who don't have nearly as much.
Right, exactly. And also it sends that message that, okay, well, even if you are able to lift yourself out of your current economic class, then we're going to punish you and you're going to have to pay for everyone else, even though you weren't afforded that absolute benefit. It kind of makes you not want to work as hard. So I'm wondering what sort of effect that's going to have on millennials as they decide to start families, particularly when they're hearing things like this come from not one, but two Democrat candidates, because Hillary Clinton also has a plan similar, but how does hers differ?
Hers differs in the respect that she doesn't quite want the federal government to cover that much. Under her plan, the federal government would provide grants to states that eliminate the need for tuition at four-year public institutions. However, families and students under her plan would still be expected to make a reasonable contribution. Of course, that means about wages from about 10 hours of work per week from the students. Now, when it comes to millennials, of course, that's a great issue because so many millennials are carrying so much debt. And let's face it, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, they don't have the kind of charisma or the style or the youth that President Obama had. They need something to catch the millennials' attention. This is how they think they're going to be able to do it.
Wow. Well, it's hard to, I know it's been said before, but it's really hard to compete with Santa. And her, part of the way that I've read that she's looking to pay for this is limiting certain expenditures for high-income taxpayers. And she's been incredibly vague on this, and I know that that's some of the criticism that she has received for it, because she's not exactly explaining what expenditures she would want to limit. And then I also think of, well, how many small business people who file as individuals technically would fall under that classification too? So then we're talking about small business.
Precisely. And let's keep in mind, of course, her plan over a decade is supposed to cost about half as much as Bernie Sanders' plan. The projections for her plan, according to her campaign, work out to about $350 billion over 10 years. Now, the problem, of course, with that is that this sort of thing where you're going to be raising taxes and giving grants and everything, look at what happened earlier this year with President Obama's plan to make 2 years of community college free. How were they going to pay for it? They were going to tax 529 college savings plans. That's the sort of thing that the middle class loves to use, because you can withdraw your child's college nest egg tax-free to help pay for college. So the government was going to tax your nest egg that you saved up for your child so that somebody else's child could go to community college for free.
Oh, nice. That's nice. I'm so glad we all work so hard to provide for everyone else. I mean, it truly is socialism. It's the party of socialism now. Well, why don't they just go after the increasing costs of college? Why don't they go after, and really look at why the cost of college is soaring, this education bubble? Because it seems like, especially to avoid a lot of this debt, that would just be the logical first step.
Mm-hmm. Well, Americans have managed to convince themselves and have told ourselves over and over again, boomers, millennials, Gen Xers, that the key to succeeding with the American dream is to get a very good college education. The problem is that college education, tuition, and costs have far outstripped the rate of inflation. According to the Harvard Crimson, that's the school newspaper at Harvard University, the cost of attending Harvard, tuition at Harvard in 1971 was $2,600 a year, $2,600 a year. That works out to about $15,000 or so dollars in today's money, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Care to guess how much Harvard costs now?
A lot.
$45,000. $45,000, almost 3 times as much. And, I have a hard time believing that as good a school as Harvard is, that the value of a Harvard degree has almost tripled in the last couple of decades. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.